Podcast strategist, Miss Anne-Marie Cross. I'll go ahead and welcome her in.
Hello, let me put my video on.
How are you?
How are you?
Nice
How
to
are you?
talk with you today.
Yeah, you too. You too. Great setup that you've got there too.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yes. So how are you?
I've been
You,
doing okay. How are
yeah.
you doing in our new normal COVID world? How are you?
Well, I'm based in Melbourne, Australia, and we're in our second lockdown, but we've just gone into stage 4, which means we've got a curfew. Only one person is allowed to leave the house at a time. Obviously, work. Some workplaces are still working. We've probably had 90% of our workforce shut down
Oh my
because,
God,
yeah,
90%?
everything's closed down except for medical. Supermarkets, so food,
Yeah.
and some construction because they are just wanting to stop it. We've had worse cases and that the second time round. So it's certainly not the numbers that, because you're in the US, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, it's not the same number. But we've only got 24 million people in our country, in our nation. So you know, the numbers, so they're very concerned because a lot of our elderly, you know, are being impacted. But oh well, thankfully we work from home and we can use the internet. So you know,
Awesome.
but you're working in the career industry. My background is in the career industry. So
Yeah, I am. I'm a career coach, so I help people take more control of their professional career. You know, we spend a majority of our lively years working. You know,
yes,
so we might as well have it produce as much for us as we can, as much as what we're worth. So we just need to have more people take an active role. You know, a lot of people feel like this is being dictated, their career futures are being dictated to them, and they actually can be in the driver's seat and control the trajectory, you know, of their careers. And I have my methodologies and resources that I provide my clients to help them be able to do that.
Yeah, fantastic. Do you finding that a lot of your clients now are having to seek re-employment because of what's been impacted? Yeah.
Yeah, so we unfortunately has the highest unemployment rate in our country since we had an event called the Great Depression that happened in the 20s. So we've actually, I think we're really close to eclipsing that number, which is unheard of for us. You know, actually 1.4 million people just this week have applied for unemployment benefits.
Wow.
So there's a lot of people that's going to be going through work transition. Some people are not going to get hired back at the same places where they were. Some people are going to be, let's say, you know what, I can't go back and live like that again. You know, so some people may be willing to actually acquire some coaching assistance this time around. Some people are gonna, some people have had opportunities for work remote and have felt their freedom for these few months that we've been working remote here in the US. And they're like, I can get a job where I can have more of this and less of me sitting in front of a computer in somebody else's building for 8 to 10 hours a day. You know, we have a 40-hour work week standard here for work for people that work. So, you know, if they can have more of that time to be available for life around them, then it makes it better for everyone from all kind of from a health benefit and from a life employment benefit overall.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And some people, you know, a small percentage will realise that with the knowledge and expertise that they've gained over the many years, they're now able to package that up and do consulting and coaching themselves, even internationally, you know. So there's always that to consider too, now that so many more people are online, which is good, you know, because they're searching for help, support often. So we find that that's a really good industry as well. So what are some things, I mean, I love to have these connection calls because there's always an opportunity to connect and meet someone that you haven't already done so. But what kind of ways may I support you? Are you looking for that I can keep my eyes and ears open when I'm, you know, networking and chatting to people? What can I do to support you?
Well, I'm currently launching a podcast. I'm collecting a lot of interview
Yeah,
content right now, as you can see from
yeah,
the backdrop I have and everything. So
yes,
I actually have my one of my my new format. I have because I've been changing the format for like past past 10. I've done like 10 different episodes, and none of the episodes has been the same because you know you're
yeah,
going through that defining who am I type of situation. So my
yes,
newest format, I'm recording later on this afternoon or this evening with a new guest. But I understand that you are a podcast strategist.
yes,
So
yes.
what is your area of it? I mean, there's a lot of different podcasts I see in your in your graphic at the top here, your LinkedIn profile. So
Yes.
are these podcasts that you help people develop, or you help them
Yeah.
market their podcasts, or
But yeah, all of those. So I've had a number of podcasts myself. I've got clients who've got their own podcast. And then
Mhm.
I also host and produce podcasts for alliance partners. So they are networks
Mhm.
or niche areas of expertise. And so it's actually really good timing because I've got what I call my profitable podcasting free online intensive, which starts next week. And so I'm
Nice.
happy to send you a link because it's a good
I'll be happy to
opportunity.
check that out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because when I started my very first podcast when I was in the career industry still back in 2008, and that was the time the global financial crisis hit, and a colleague and I were really disillusioned at the doom and gloom that mainstream media portrayed back then. They still do that today. And we said we need to be the voice of hope and inspiration. So we started Career Success Radio. We did that for 2 years. We, you know, impacted a lot of people, met incredible guests and other experts. So it was great in that way. But we struggled to monetize it, which was one of the reasons why we stopped. But ever since then, I've always had a podcast. So I've been trying different ways, especially for service-based businesses who are looking to build their reach, looking to build their reputation as that trusted authority with their ideal customer, and then get a system in place, strategy in place that you can start to nurture those listeners
Mhm.
off the podcast onto your list so that you can then continue to build, you know, customer relationships that way. And I accidentally, and I'll share a little bit more in the intensive, but I accidentally generated two four-figure clients from a three episodes that was released for back then Women in Leadership podcast. And I thought, if I could bottle up what I did accidentally and then do that again, I wonder if it would be successful. And so that's what I did. I took some time because my background actually is in personal branding. That's what I did in the career industry: personal branding, resume development,
Oh
interview
wow.
coaching.
Okay.
So very much personal marketing, positioning. And so when I transitioned from the career industry into working with from executives to entrepreneurs, a lot of those skills that I was using related to businesses, you know, marketing. And then I kind of then went, right, now I need to bring the podcast into that, so that becomes a vehicle to be able to share a message, build this deeper community. And that's what I do, you know. So don't launch yet. Go to that first because it's going to give you some ideas that, you know, you can do. Because I mean, I'm just talking to someone who's in Canada today. She hired a strategist, but she's 73 episodes in. She says, I've got no clients from it. She's
Oh
in a
wow.
very highly specialized area. And as you know, there's so many more podcasts out there now. And if you want to cut through that noise, you have to really carve out where you're going to position yourself. So yeah, the strategy is very much around a message, very much around monetization. I mean, where do you want to eventually monetize? And monetizing for service-based businesses is monetizing your message, your programs, your
Mhm.
offerings, your services, but in a very integral way that people feel nurtured. You know, they start to listen to your podcast and they go, I like this Rogers. He's great. You know, you create an experience that your podcast listeners really resonate with. So that's kind of my strategy. I say 90% strategy, 10% equipment, tech, and all of that. So get that 90%, 80 to 90%, strategy in place, and the systems, and you've got a really nice lead generator for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Leverage.
Okay. Because I virtualized my coaching program. So
Yeah,
literally,
great.
if let's say if 200 people say, hey, we all want to take your class right now, we want you to coach us right now,
Yeah,
I can actually do that because
yeah, that's
I have
brilliant.
video guided, workbook workbook process that
Yes,
all of them can jump in there and go through it. Now
yeah,
I would have to process them out via my one-on-ones the way I have it set up right now. So
yeah,
between me and my other partner coaches can handle that. But we are to a point where we can scale. But like you said, I'm hoping to use this podcast as a lead generator, like you said, like
yeah,
as the
yeah,
beginning portion of the funnel to get a chance to experience what talking with me would be like, and how I
yes,
think, and how I could bring a different perspective to what it is that they're doing. So that's why
yeah.
I had this. Okay, I got to get more comfortable in front of a camera, try to get the lighting right. As you can see, all this has been worked on for like the past 3 years, like
Yeah,
3 to 4 years.
brilliant. It really is
Just to
brilliant.
get
Yeah,
here, just to get to
yeah,
this point.
I know. And you know what? Good for you, because so many people don't take the time to do that. And I believe that what you put in the front end is going to pay off in dividends once you get started. Because, I always put my personal brand strategist hat on. What you put out there is going to live out there unless you delete it. But you can dilute your message. And so many people go, oh, I need to be all things. You've got the top marketers saying content, content, content. And content, yes, but if you put in yourself, or you want to build your reputation as a trusted authority, sometimes less is more, and less is focusing on that niche message, focusing on what adds real value, but in a way that no one is really talking about, or no one is talking about it the way you talk about it. And I
Hmm.
don't think people spend enough time on that to really differentiate yourself. Because in the career industry, you might now have thousands of people in the career podcasting space, but no one delivers it, like you do. No one shares it like you do. No one has your journey, your experience. And when you bring all of those things together, that's why people resonate with you. And I often say, and you'll hear me say this next week if you join me, people come for the topic, they return for the host. So they may be able to hear
Oh,
your
okay.
topic from thousands of others, and something's triggered them to, I need to listen to this. Then they listen to you and go, oh, I really like him, and just the way that he interacts with the guest, or even if you've got some solo shows, but they come back for the host, because they could go to many other podcasts to listen, but they choose yours when you have the right kind of strategy in place and you're clear. So many people aren't clear on what makes them unique.
Hmm.
And I tell you, there's nothing better and more, not sure if the word liberating, but there's a level of self-confidence, not arrogance, but confidence that develops when you can just show up and be you, deliver the content that you just know is going to help people. And you're transparent, you're authentic, you're integral, you demonstrate excellence in what you do. And when you get that right, people will just recommend. It just works. And I've kind of wrapped that around in the podcast space, but also letting people know that when you think about your business, it's a business model. What's your business your pathways, and because you might have. And I love that you're saying, you've got some group coaching programs, because what can happen then is that when you look from a pricing point of view, you might be able to offer it at a lower pricing because you can work with more people. But some of those people go, I've got such great results already. What's your higher level program? So you start to build your higher level clients and what I call your legacy clients from what you're creating down here. And I think
Okay.
now is a beautiful time for everyone who's able to productize their knowledge to be able to do that. And even I've said to a few people, even though you may not be generating as much income as what you are at the moment, you're building the foundations and you're planting the seeds and watering those seeds to become, those high level clients now. Once or because people are still in the process of concern, aren't they? What's happening? There's a lot of uncertainty. But if you can be the certainty and the uncertainty and the clarity in an unclear, overwhelming world, you'll be the person, when you kind of nurture them through that. And you can do that through your message to the point where they go, and you'll have multiple different people at different stages. I talk about different stages of a customer journey. And you'll have some people that are ready now, some people that it's going to take a little bit longer. But if you've got this beautiful pipeline that you're nurturing people through, your podcast becomes this 24/7, 365 days a year relationship building, the calls to action, because you've been so compelling in how you're delivering content, and it's compelling because it makes sense. People will step forward. They just do. And anyway, so that's what I've experienced and kind of now really, because my mission is to impact the world one message at a time. And everyone that I get to support share their message.
That's a nice tagline. I like that. Impact the world one message at a time. I like that.
Yeah. One podcast at a time. And because you just, you never know who you will impact. I mean, I've had my show that's syndicated on national radio in Zimbabwe. One of our listeners, by the name of Tony, and he just loved our show. And he said, I'm now a program director on one of the local radio stations. He said, we would love to syndicate your show. Can we do that? I said, of course. So all of these, aspiring entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe listening, to something that I recorded in my home office here in Hallam in Australia, that to me is just amazing.
That's awesome. So that kind of brings me to one of the big questions I do have for you. So as I build this thing and I have my format down, and now I'm pumping out these podcasts, once, 2 to 3 times a month or whatever the cadence is I'll eventually have set up. How do I break into the international markets to get some international viewers?
You know what? That just happens. It
Really?
really just happens. I have more listeners, and I'm in Australia. I have more listeners in US and Canada and now even in India, because it just happens. But obviously one of the things that you will say is, or one of the things that I used to do is we'll look at the downloads and you'll be able to see which countries they're from. So what I did was I did a post and I said, hey, these are the top 5, top 10 countries. Where are you? Let's boost you up. And there's something competitive about people, and then they go, we want to get so-and-so on the map. So, that you can kind of have it as a bit of a competition. And so there's little things that you can do like that within your community. But one of the things that this is something that I've been observing, because I love to observe human behavior, observe what's happening. Because of what now so many people are isolated and, wanting to value that connection. If you create a community of like-minded people that've got similar values, similar challenges as well, and you become the Pied Piper of that community, that you bring, some really inspiring stuff into that, that is when your community will continue to evolve on its own, because you'll say, bring someone, they'll bring people in, they become your ambassadors. And maybe even do a shout out. You just say, hey, well, I'm looking to get some listeners in, I don't know, let's pick in Fiji or Indonesia or wherever it is. So if you know someone, send them the link to the show, because it's a valuable one and this, and let's see if we can increase our listeners in that country. So you get your community involved. Okay. It's just that kind of thing. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, shoot, I just want to thank you so much for.
You are welcome. But I'll send you the link to the intensive anyway.
Send me the link and everything. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to also invite you to come on the podcast and come do an interview.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, would love to. Send me the details and we can get that set up too.
Oh, that is great. It's great to do that. Also, would it be okay? Because some of this conversation we had today was absolutely awesome. Can I share some of what we talked today with?
Of course. Of course.
Awesome. Well, it's Anne Marie, correct?
Yes, Anne Marie. Yes.
Marie, thank you so much for taking time to talk with me. And for people that's watching, hey, go to Anne Marie, check her out on LinkedIn, Anne Marie Cross. Now, obviously, this lady knows what she's talking about. I love her accent. I know you do too. And thank you guys for watching this as I speak with her. And again, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a blessed day.
Yeah, you too. Bye for now.
Bye. Are you ready for the next career version of yourself? We at the My Digital Self Career Coaching Agency are ready to serve you. Come visit us at mdself.com to schedule your free initial consultation. For more amazing and inspirational content, join us via LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And of course, if you have any questions, reach out to us at coach@mdself.com.